what we refer to as advanced communication skills kind of bridges what we call typical communication skills with various levels of psychology and mind skills, or it kind of engages in the whole mind in terms of incorporating subconscious ideas along with conscious ideas. As well as, it turns out, what we call the higher mind, or the energy field that surrounds our body, where it turns out we store a lot of information and a lot of memories that we are able to access to kind of construct or structure various forms of experience as we're recalling certain events. But advanced communication skills, the thing that we start off asking is we ask ourselves, how do we communicate, right? What's going on when we communicate? And we realize that how we communicate is through what we call sensory systems. And sensory systems is just the type of information that we use as a way of recalling or constructing, making mental constructs in our mind as a way of first creating an experience in our mind, and then, which is what allows us to communicate it or kind of tell a story about a particular memory. And sensory systems are how we collect information, store it, and then have it to be able to access, recall, and to be able to share experiences with other people. And it's also how we naturally form memories of different types that were primarily either visual memories, memories of something that was being said to us or how we were being spoken to and treated, and or memories that were very feeling oriented and had a strong emotional component to them. And we spent years trying to figure out where we stored memories, right? And for a long time we thought we stored memories in the brain, but we never could find any conclusive data as far as where these memories were, what were memory banks, that type stuff. And then we had an interesting experience when we started performing heart transplants, and that is that we realized that people who received hearts from other people also received memories and developed preferences from the other person. And what I mean by preferences is that, for example, if the person who was getting the heart hated chocolate cake and the person they were getting the heart from loved chocolate cake, after receiving that person's heart, they would develop a love for chocolate cake, so that their preferences as far as what they liked, craved, and had a craving for or kind of desire around changed based on receiving somebody else's heart. So this let us know that we do store certain types of memories, as well as things that we're fond of, things that we have positive feelings around, was actually stored in the organ of the heart. Well, so this started us questioning things a lot more, and then quantum physics came along and gave us a whole new way of looking at the mind in terms of giving us a new model to look at the mind through. And of course the model that we look through in order to understand things determines what we're able to see as a result and what the level of understanding is. Well, quantum physics developed a model that says that the electromagnetic field that surrounds the body, which is unique to every individual, is kind of like our private energy field that we're constantly interacting with, as well as programming with information and taking in information from, and that this energy field is intelligent energy, like all energy in the universe. And what that means is that it's programmed, or it carries and stores information. And this is just like the TV. You turn on the TV and click a different channel, and information comes through invisible empty space, right? In terms of like frequencies and waves that have whole movies, whole channels of information encoded in them. So, and it turns out that the mind is the same way. And in psychology, we started noticing when we were talking to people that people had a tendency, when they were recalling certain memories, to access information through their eyes, how they were using their eyes, in what appeared to be out in the space in front of them. And this is where psychology developed the term that we refer to as eye accessing. And there's been all kinds of very real good productive techniques developed off of this, but what it basically says is that we appear to be storing information out in the space in front of us or out in the space around us. And when we go to access certain memories or certain types of information, we do it by searching through this empty space to find out where they are. And we have them categorized, so to speak, based on whether they're a visual memory or whether they're like something that we heard, something was being said to us, or if they were like an emotional feeling type energy or memory. So whenever we're recalling stuff, we not only access it this way, but we also create what we call strategies for how we connect different types of information that forms a kind of composition for the experience, or what we could call, we literally structure our experience by how we combine different information to create a whole experience. And what this means is that, for example, we might, look around and recall a certain memory that's a visual memory, and then we might go down here and think about how we felt as we were, observing that experience, and then come up here and listen to what we were hearing or what we were being told or what was going on as far as the auditory quality, and then go back up to the visual. And when we make that connection, we form kind of like a little strategy or composure for the experience, and then we then take that composure, and that's how we share an experience or retell it or convey something about the experience. So, and we also have what we call an imaginary timeline. Everybody has some kind of a timeline that they use to spatially orientate past, present, and kind of like the ranges in between. And most people have a timeline that exists out here in front of them, where the left is like the past, and we kind of move through our lifetime, and as we go into the right, it goes into what we could call the future. Some people do, however, have timelines that run straight through their body, so their past is actually behind them, and they can't really see it, and they perceive the future as being out in front of them. Whereas other people have timelines that run kind of like an angle through their body, so the past might be back here, and the future is right there. But and there's ways that we can interact with people to what we call calibrate, and that is we can determine where their timeline is, where they perceive past and future, so that we, when they're accessing different types of information, we can know if it's in the past, that it's an actual memory that they're recalling, and if it's in the future, we know that it's either a constructed experience, like they're taking several components and putting it together to create a storyline, or they're literally making up the experience. And I don't want to say lying, because that's kind of a strong word, but that the memory or the experience that they're talking about is something that they actually made up in their mind. This is what we call the constructing. Out here on the right hand side is experience that's constructed or fabricated and kind of self-induced, so to speak. But the other interesting thing is we know from state of mind that our state of mind, we have three major components that are always in a state of alignment. And that is what we're focused on, what we're telling ourselves about what we're focused on, and the physiology, or what our bodies are doing as a result, or how we reflect the state of mind in our behavior and how we're holding our body and what we're doing. So what we found was that in people have what we call a preference, or they're dominant in one of the sensory systems, and that doesn't mean they do it all the time. We do all of them, but we have certain ones that we do most of the time, or that we do as kind of like a favorite way of interpreting, or just kind of our preferred way of kind of being in the world, so to speak. That's kind of like an inherent part of our personality. But visual people, for example, have, because pictures are like worth 1,000 words, we can take in a lot of information by looking at pictures. People who are visual tend to be very fast. They grasp whole situations. They tend to talk fast. They do a lot of physical gestures because they are visual. They're very quick moving, kind of when they sit down in a chair, they have a tendency to sit on the edge of the chair. They can have a tendency to like tap their foot, or they're very kind of energized and active. Auditory people have a tendency to be more methodical, I call it composed. They have more composure about them. They don't really do a whole lot with their hands. They're usually either kind of like holding something, or holding a strap on their purse, or putting their hands in their pocket when they talk. They kind of do something with their hands. They don't tend to do a lot of gesturing. And these people also tend to be very good with like organizing facts, data, that type stuff. Kinesthetic people these are the people they're very relaxed, laid back, easygoing. When they sit down, they have a tendency to slouch in the chair, and every time you look at them, they look comfortable, right? They're really comfortable in their bodies. And they're much slower in their behavior. These people are really noticeable because they talk slow. They tend to hesitate a lot, so they'll start talking and then they'll like hesitate. And the reason they're doing that is because feelings are much more difficult to interpret than like pictures and sounds. So they'll talk, and then they kind of go explore their feelings, and then they talk some more, but they're much more slower. They tend to walk slower, do things slower, but they're excellent at what we call building relationships with people. So if you're in a situation where you need somebody who's good at establishing relationships and relating to people, and really spending time with people, being present, kinesthetic people are the way to go. But once we discovered that all these things, that we could not only elicit a thinking pattern, a thinking strategy that people were having, how they were accessing different information to form experiences, as well as that there were certain types of behavior, we were able to recognize that particularly like in a job situation, for example, this gives us a lot of valuable information as far as matching up personalities to certain types of jobs, and what person we want performing that job, as opposed to just creating job descriptions that are about technical things or education, or the different things you're required to know to do that job. Instead, we say, okay, what personality do we want performing this job, and what is it, what kind of a talent do we want them to bring to this job? And then we can design interviewing questions that will allow us to be able to tell that, what their basic personality is, or what their favorite sensory system that they operate out of, and that tells us what kind of behavior they're going to have more of a tendency to perform. And this is also very beneficial in terms of being able to put together real, what I call high performance teams, people who by the combination of personalities, the combination of behaviors, we can strategically combine certain people to perform a process and be able to do it with what we call in the most proficient way possible. And for example, if you have a process that's being done by 5 people, and it requires them to be very quick, streamlined, very efficient in their flow, and you have 3 kinesthetic people on that team, for example, there's an excellent possibility you're not making your times, and the processes are taking a lot longer than they're supposed to. And this is because the 3 kinesthetic people are busy kind of establishing relationships and relating to people, as opposed to staying on task and moving along. So we know that those people simply need to be put in different situations where their talents can be benefited from, and that we would more than likely create a team that was at least predominantly visual and auditory. But there's all kinds of things that this lets us know, and of course we can develop different aspects of anything that we have all of the components for. Even though we have a habit or a tendency to use one more than the other, we still have the ability to develop the other ones as well. So if we're in a situation where our performance means that we need to get faster, we can literally train our minds to become faster by accessing and learning to process information more visually. And we can literally do this just by training our mind when we normally be looking down to look up instead. And it's like body posture or anything else. It literally shifts our perception. When we're used to looking down in a typical situation, and all of a sudden we start looking up, we have a whole different perception. It's like whole different types of information becomes available to us to perform that same type of behavior or process, whatever. So these are, and this forms like a basic information that we use to, and of course there's a lot more detail to it. I just kind of recapped it and kind of gave a general idea so that you get a feel for what we mean by advanced communication skills. And this is like the base information that is developed to go into areas like rapport, behavioral modifications, being able to elicit thinking styles, being able to teach people how to form brand new perceptions, how to think different, as well as kind of like restructure or take memories, existing memories, and restructure them so that they are perceived different, and literally transform memories that people have. And of course, this information is clearly extremely valuable for anybody who is in any form of medical or healing arts, psychology, mental health, hypnotherapy, as well as anybody who's like a coach, a mentor, where it's extremely important for you to have excellent communication skills, as well as be able to identify belief systems, attitudes, dominant emotions, and to be able to interact with that person in such a way that you can literally teach them how to think different, or you can literally create what we call behavioral modifications. You can literally change their behavior by guiding them through different processes where they're structuring information in a different way that creates a different type of experience from it. It's very cool stuff, and it's very powerful, and it works extremely well. But this kind of stuff is also very good for any kind of like educator, trainer, as well as consultants, anything like that where you're involved in helping people, guiding them, directing them, training them, giving them new skills, troubleshooting situations that involve people, mediating, or negotiating, or anything where it's both psychology and an excellent ability to communicate are of the essence, so to speak. So, this is just kind of a vague idea of some of the training that we do at Creative Transformations. We specialize in advanced skills at all levels, as well as most of our stuff is at more the advanced level, so it does usually help to have a base knowledge about certain subjects, so that we can take that base knowledge and kind of develop it and evolve it by building off of it. So, but go check out our website and look at the different programs that we have, and we also design custom programs so we can come into situations, organizations, businesses, and see what your needs are, see what the personality is involved in, what type of a group that we have or audience or whatever, and then put together specially designed programs that will teach the skills that that group is pertinent to that group in that situation, and kind of meet your needs in a very personal and custom fashion. So again, check out our website, and if there's anything, any questions that you have, shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to answer them for you.